Okay.
Okay.
Who's going to read the passage first?
So, I will read my passage.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my passage. But above all else and every day, she would send us to get water. It was hard for me to carry the heavy pail with my one good hand, and I went too slowly. Slowly, too, went I. My habit on the path was reciting sentences forward and back, for the concentration improved my walking. It helped me forget the timid of moving only one way through the world, the way of the slow, slow body. So Leah took all the water and went ahead, as always. Okay.
Why did you choose that?
So, I chose this passage because it shows a lot of Ada's struggles and reasoning.
I don't know.
Okay. It shows a lot of who Ada is and what Ada values, and I think that showing that Ada recites those to improve her concentration shows that she cares about, one, she notices her disabilities and wants to improve them, so she wants to work on them, and two, she values literature as a way of that, so it shows how much literature impacts her, and it can actually improve what she was born with. And then it also shows how she values, like, her sister and her sister's role in her life. And it shows that, like, her sister taking the pail always, like, Leah has the upper hand in the twin. And so I think that Ada definitely notices that, and she feels, like, kind of left behind from the twins.
Mm-hmm. I would kind of say, when you said she kind of values literature and, like, how she notices her disability, I think she kind of, like, uses her disability, like, to her advantage. Like, she doesn't like to talk to her, like, sisters who, like, really annoy her, and it's just kind of, I think it's her way of, like, staying out of all the busyness and being herself.
Right.
And so she uses her thoughts more as her way to, like, get through life and stuff in the new way that they're living. So.
Alright, your passage.
Okay. Mine's from kind of closer to the beginning of the book, but I thought it was cool because it was, like, the first representation, like, real representation of the Congo. So, sunrise tantalize, evil eyes hypnotize. That is the morning, Congo pink. Any morning, every morning. Blossomy rose-colored birdsong air streaked sour with breakfast cook fires. A wide red plank of dirt, the so-called road, flat out in front of us. Continuous in theory from here to somewhere distant. But the way I see it, through my Ada eyes, it is a flat plank clipped into pieces, rectangles, and trapezoids. By the skinny black line shadows of tall palm trunks through Ada eyes. Oh, the world is a boggle with colors and shapes competing for a half-brain's attention. The parade never stops. Into the jangled pieces of road, little jungle roosters step from the bush, carcadoodling. They jerk up their feet with cocky roosterness, as if they have not yet heard about the two-legged beasts who are going to make slaves of their wives. I kind of chose this passage because it actually, like, gives, like, a really good representation of their of where they're living in the Congo. Because, I mean, you go through all of the other sisters, Rachel and Leah and Ruth May. Rachel's just insulting everything, and she's just, like, full of herself. Yeah. And then Ruth May isn't really focused on as much.
She doesn't realize as much.
Yeah. But Ada, like, really gives, like, a deeper sight from it, because she, I think it's kind of because of her disability and the way she is and her personality, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's beautiful. So,
and I wrote this down because I liked how it said half brains, like how we were talking about how Ada knows her disabilities, and she uses that as she, like, thinks, I guess is what we're hearing, as she, like, thinks about herself. She thinks of herself as half-brained and as, you know, like, slower. And Ada eyes, she thinks of herself as, like, different, seeing things different than other people.
Yeah.
Which, to us, I think, personally, that it's very, like, cool and, like, interesting how she sees things, you know?
Yeah, compared to us, where we just see...
Like, Rachel, she sees things from, like, a teenager's perspective, you know? And Ada sees them more, like, deeply and more important.
And Ruth May just thinks everything's playful.
Right.
And happy.
She doesn't know what's going on, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Questions.
Yeah, what's a question? Actually, here, let's go do her example, because I thought that was a good one, actually. Yes. What do the things the family carried with them to Africa show about what they value?
So, well, starting with Rachel, I think it shows what Rachel values because she brought her makeup and her clothes and,
Her
you know,
green
stuff
linen
like
suit.
that. Yeah, and so it shows that she values how she looks in, like, the world and how, you know, how other people see her and stuff like that.
I'm trying to, I mean, honestly, though this is kind of a school book discussion, I'm thinking back to our youth group last night.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Like a lot of there was a word, what was like, you're in the world, but you're not of it.
Right. Rachel is very of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
As to where
her dad wants her to be out of the world. Right.
And that's why, I think that's a big part of why they go to the Congos, their dad trying to get them out of the ways of life.
Right.
I also think it really shows everything they value. Like, they get there, and the first thing that their dad does is try to fix something. When in Africa, there's nothing to fix. It's all just beautiful and real. As to where everything we have is from China. And,
yeah, and I think, like, how they all carried all this stuff, like, the stuff for the kitchen and the stuff for the house and stuff like that. Like pans and, I don't know, mirrors. That mirror is a big symbol. But it, like, shows how, again, they're, like, especially the mom and the kids are so, and the dad, the whole family is so in the world that they value those things that make life easier. When, really, when you should go to Africa, you should value the nature and, like, what's there, you know?
And the reason you're going.
Right.
And I think they were there.
That was a symbol that shows that they, like, weren't ready. They weren't, like, open to, like, Africa. They wanted to take their... Oh, yeah.
I think there were... I'm not saying they're too young. I mean, there's a lot of missionary families that go out and do stuff. But they brought cake mixes.
Yeah.
And
they weren't, yeah.
That's not... I mean, in my opinion, it's not a practical thing to bring to Africa with them. And to be ready to spread...
Be a light.
Yeah. So, that's my opinion on that question.
All right. So, question I have. What does the garden show about what they value? I think of the garden as a big symbol, especially to the dad, because it shows how much he wants something. And I think it's a symbol of how much he wants to impact Africa and how much he wants people to get baptized and get, go into the river and be just changed and be like, all right, I'm a Christian now and stuff like that. And I think the garden not growing and not prospering in Africa shows how his faith and how he tries to teach them is not growing and not prospering.
I think that's kind of the same, where Mama... I never can pronounce it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know, Tatabu or something like that. I don't know, some weird name. How she changes it, and he changes it back. It's like he's not accepting that everything isn't going to change right when he gets there. Like, it's not going to be the same. He has to, like, I don't think he wanted to adjust, and I think that's what it symbolizes, is that he wasn't ready to adjust or wanted to.
He liked everything his way.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go to Africa and everything be his way, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he got there and was expecting to not be able to automatically get people to go to church and get baptized and stuff. I don't think he realized it took time and, like, more than just being reverent. I mean, you can go to the part where the mom, selflessly killed all their chickens to, like, feed the whole town, and that's what brought them there. And I think he didn't realize that he needs to bond with them first before he's going to get through to them.
You have to have a relationship.
Yeah.
You can't just go there and expect everyone to jump in the water. And the fact how he didn't know about the crocodiles and how that one girl died, I think that really showed, which this is kind of going into that question about the dad.
Yeah.
But,
how does the way their dad acts show what he values? I almost sneezed, okay.
But, going back to the crocodile, I think that shows how the dad, how he acts and how he didn't build a relationship enough to really know things about Africa, because he doesn't realize that people have been living there for thousands of years or whatever, and they have reasons behind everything, and so he can't just jump in and expect them to go into his way.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like they don't want to go out of their comfort zone yet.
Right.
And
right.
he is trying too fast to get them out. Like anything we do on a daily basis, we can't like. It's weird for me to not be at school because it's out of my routine.
Yeah, like if an African person came over here and like, you're not going to school, you're not gonna,
Yeah.
wash your face or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever we're used to doing. It's like, why? Like, and
Yeah.
that's what he's trying to do with Africa.
Yeah, he's just trying to change it. So I guess to just jump into more of him is how does the way their dad acts show what he values, like towards his kids and his wife. Pretty much everybody.
Yeah. He's very hateful.
Yeah, I think he's really prideful too.
Yes,
like
very
extremely prideful. He
thinks he's above because he's a reverend.
Yeah,
you know?
I think yeah.
And like, and especially seeing it from the girls' eyes, that's what they see. They like, if you read when he's having conversations with someone, one of the girls will be like, "All right, now here's where he talks in the puppy voice or whatever, where he's like talking to a dog." And so it's like it shows that the girls see him as someone that is like, "I'm above you."
Yeah.
And how they call him Reverend, it's like, that's all he is,
Yeah,
he's not a dad. Yeah, he's not
or
a husband. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And how he's so rude to his wife shows that he just doesn't value
it's just
her.
I think he's too focused on trying to be mission work. He's not focusing on that. His family has to adjust there too. And like when he broke the platter that Brother Fowles brought, that was the first thing that the wife got connected to and really enjoyed.
Right.
And it started.
He was like, "You're getting too attached."
Yeah. Yet I think he's actually one getting more attached than the others because he wants to stay over the others.
I think he's striving for success. Like he wants to always be like, "I'm the one that changed you,"
Yeah.
Instead of building relationships and showing Christ through loving. And I think that's what he's missing is I think to be an efficient missionary and to share Christ, you have to love.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's missing that relationship.
But I think the girls and the mom understand that. Where they play games with their neighbors and just try to interact.
I think it's weird, the time setting, because in this time setting, I think it's cool at the same time. In America, blacks are not valued.
Yeah.
And and so it's it's interesting for them to go to a country where everyone is that, and so it's it's cool to see how they back home, especially being in the South.
Oh,
they're
yes.
They're probably not supposed to interact. They probably don't go to the same school, but then they're put into this world where everyone is like that. So they get that feel for it may not be comfortable, but they still make friends with them, and so that shows how
I liked how I think Ruth May kind of put it. She's back in Georgia. They went to a different school than me because apparently I don't really remember exactly what she said. But she said something along the lines to where they were just separated, and now she just doesn't see the difference in them.
Right,
and
they're just people.
Yeah.
I think that's what shows how those girls value being a true resemblance of Christ is because they view them as equal.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Where we can actually kind of bring that back to the dad too, where he thinks they're lower than him.
Right.
Still, I mean, I think that it kind of symbolizes it could be because of their race too, and not just because they're from a different country or because they're not a reverend or officially anything to them. So
yeah. All right. So another question I have is about how the animals symbol things. I think the big one I think is the bird and the owl. And so the bird,
the parrot.
Yeah. What do you think the parrot symbolizes?
I think the parrot symbolizes their actual what they want to say, but they can't. To where it's just not accepted. But the parrot can say it, and it's not he's not obviously reading their minds or anything, but it's that's how
he
it's
feels
being,
the tension.
Yeah.
But they all hide it.
Yeah. So I think it's a good show how, and I think all of the different viewpoints show what he really knows. What they know.
I think the parrot also can kind of represent the sin, because it's all the girls know what to do and what not to do. So it's like the parrot doesn't know what is right or wrong, and so he's representing what they're hiding. Because they know, don't say that word because it's a sin. But the parrot is just like,